Hello, welcome back, everyone. Today I will be dropping a gem on how to reduce your internet bill. Unfortunately, this may or may not apply to everyone, but no worries, as I will be posting more frequently on different ways to make money, save money, how to earn cash back rewards, and how to apply different discounts and promotions towards your purchases. However, before we were to jump into the information that I have for you all today, assure that you like this video, comment, and subscribe. Not only do these various forms of actions help me out, but this also helps push out the content provided on this channel to other daily consumers who are interested in the information that I have to provide on this channel. Now, without further ado, let me introduce you to the Affordable Connectivity Program. ACP is a government affiliated program that reduces your internet bill up to $30 monthly. Pay attention to that. This is up to $30 monthly. What that means is it could be more, it could be less. This is something that you're going to want to inquire through your service provider or your carrier once you actually get qualified for the program so that you can assure that you are most definitely getting the most value out of the ACP program. ACP can be applied towards mobile internet services or home internet. Unfortunately, you will have to choose how you go about applying this benefit towards a service that you have, being that technically you cannot apply this service towards both mobile and home internet unless you in fact have bundled services with your carrier. And of course, I'll be touching a little bit more on that a little further um in the video once we actually start talking about the application process and the enrollment process as well. There are two ways in which you can actually qualify for the program. Of course, if you were to or have a dependent or child in the household that partakes in a federal assistance program, in which there is a list of the ones that are accepted in order to get qualified for ACP. And then, of course, it is the matter of actually qualifying through income. However, before we were to get further into that, let me just show you more so what the affordableconnectivity.gov webpage looks like. Of course, you're already aware of what the Affordable Connectivity Program is. It is to help low-income households pay for internet service and connected devices, such as a laptop or a tablet, where it touches a little bit more on that down here. Again, it is an up to $30 monthly discount on your internet services. However, if you were to be living on federally recognized tribal lands, this is an up to $75 monthly discount. There is a also one-time discount of a $100. This is more so viewed as a rebate. However, you can get a laptop, a tablet, or desktop computer with, of course, a co-payment of more than $10 but less than $50, plus a low cost service plan that may be fully covered through the ACP program. So this most definitely has its benefits. It's, very helpful if you're trying to get your monthly bill reduced. I get it. A lot of people, they're attached to their Wi-Fi, whether it's due to, working from home, you needed to make a living, whether it's just because you're in love with your social media platforms. You use, your Wi-Fi to learn new things every day. Whatever the case may be on why is it that you're needing your internet services, this is most definitely a great way to have your monthly bill reduced. So again, there are two different ways in which you can actually qualify for the program. Um, Of course, as I mentioned, if a child or dependent in the household, were to be partaking in certain government assistance programs that they actually have on the list, and then also there is the option to qualify through income, it is important to also have a clear understanding of what is considered a household in regards to when you're applying for this program. A household would be considered, of course, those who live together and share money, even if they're not related to each other. So, of course, like an example, it could be four roommates. However, if everyone's, sharing the bills, sharing expenses as far as, utilities, food, things of that nature, that would be considered one household. However, let's say these four roommates, everyone pays like their own way. No one's sharing anything at all as far as money and expenses are concerned. Those in turn would be individual separate households. So it is important to understand exactly what a household is. And of course, they actually provide examples here just so that you can get a better understanding, so that you don't get confused whenever you're going about applying for the program. At this time, I'll just be showing you guys the list of the federal assistance programs that are accepted to get qualified for the program. As you can see, SNAP, formerly known as food stamps, is at the top of the list, followed by Medicaid, WIC, SSI. If you were to be associated with a federal public housing assistance program, Veterans Pension and Survivors Benefit, free and reduced price school lunch program, or of course school breakfast programs, that is most definitely on the list. And also, if one were to be receiving a federal Pell Grant in the current award year, that is also one of the federal assistance programs that is mentioned on this list. Of course, it does have here this disclaimer that you may have to show a card, letter, or official document as proof that you participate in one of these federal assistance programs, which is something I will also be discussing a little bit more on once we actually start talking about the application process. However, of course, if you were to be living on a federally recognized tribal land, it's some information on that as well. It also touches on the fact that technically, if you receive Lifeline, you automatically qualify for ACP as long as your application expiration date has not occurred. You can most definitely go about just using your application ID number that was assigned for your Lifeline application to complete the enrollment for ACP. However, let's say you did not meet that deadline, you would have to go about doing the application process over separately for ACP. But of course, it's very similar as both programs are actually offered by USAC. So no worries. Then it also touches here, of course, if you were to be qualifying through a child or dependent, which would be considered a benefit qualifying person, a BQP. And all that is just kind of like, for example, it has here, if your child or dependent participates in the free or reduced price school lunch program, then in turn, you can have that child or dependent listed on your application so that you can actually get qualified for the program and start having your monthly bill reduced to the up to $30 or more. It just depends. Up here, it does touch on how you can actually qualify through income. You are eligible for the ACP if your income is 200% or less than the federal poverty guidelines. And of course, this is the table that you would refer to depending on how many members are associated in your household size. You would have to be making the dollar amount or below what is listed here. So it is important to pay attention to this chart if in fact you are trying to qualify through income. At this time, let's actually just discuss the different ways that you can go about applying for the program. There are technically only three different ways. Of course, you can apply online, which is the most recommended and in my opinion, convenient way to go about applying for this program, just due to the correspondence is very fast. You will know then and there if you need to provide additional documentation as mentioned on the previous page, just showing that you actually partake in one of the federal assistance programs. Or, of course, having to upload documentation for income as well, such as like a W-2 or a Social Security benefit statement, or of course like unemployment or workers comp, things of that nature. Once you were to go about doing the online application, You will know then and there if you need to actually provide these forms of support and documentation, or of course, if you have been qualified or denied for the program, you will know then and there. It's really fast correspondence in compared to what is the second option, which is mail, because once you were to actually go about doing that application through mail. Of course, you can technically print this off, but let's say you don't have the means to print this off and you actually contact the ACP support center and they have to mail it out to you. It can take between 5 to 7 business days for you to receive your application packet. And then in turn, once you were to mail it back into the ACP support center, they don't tell you this. Not all reps will tell you this, but you actually have to give the ACP support center a call just to know what your application ID number is, which is important for completing enrollment, which of course I'll be touching more on later on in this video, as well as just even knowing what your application status is. It's like you'll just be sitting there twirling your thumbs, just wondering, have I been qualified? Have I not? And then before you know it, time has progressed and now the application expiration date has occurred, and even if you were qualified, now your application is expired and you have to go about doing the process all over. So once you actually mail in your packet or paperwork that's associated with the paper application, you will want to reach back out to the ACP program support center, just so that you can inquire about your status as well as your application ID number, which again will be very important when you're going about completing the enrollment portion of the process. Also, it is encouraged whenever you are going about completing the paper application that you complete the household worksheet and also copy just showing proof of documentation. It doesn't have it here, but you're also going to want to show a copy of an unexpired document with your date of birth. Of course, that can entail just like a copy of your license or ID, something of that nature, just so they can actually have proof of identity as well as proof of eligibility so that you can get qualified without any further delays, being that the paper application will take the longest in regards to correspondence. Also, the third option here is to contact your internet company. Of course, you can ask your internet company if they participate in ACP, or you could actually use the online tool to find a participating company near you. All this entails is just actually going to a company's near me tool tab, which I can show you as well, where you would just key in your zip code and you'll actually be provided with the list of the different providers in your area that actually participate in the program, as well as Lifeline if that is something that you are interested in. Of course, once you apply and you get qualified for the program, the next step and the last step is really just to either contact your current carrier as long as they're participating in the program, or finding a carrier that participates in the program, providing them with your application ID number, which will be assigned to you once you go about completing the application. ACP applications do start with the letter B followed by some numbers. Once you were to have that information, you would just provide that to the service provider representative, and then in turn, they actually go about applying your up to $30 discounts towards your services. So again, guys, this is a really great benefit here, a really good perk. If you feel as if that you or your household qualifies, whether it's through income or by partaking in the federal assistance program, most definitely harp on this. There's no need to, pay for a service and there's a discount out here and you're not applying it. I mean, unless you like, flushing money down the toilet, hey, by all means, do what you have to do. However, I strongly encourage actually having the up to $30 discount applied towards those services. I mean, let's face it, guys, inflation is constantly going up. Nothing is getting cheaper. Our pay is not getting increased. However, these bills don't stop. So if there is a way to at least reduce the bills, why not actually utilize those resources so that you can reduce your bill? Up here, you can find the companies near me tab, what I just mentioned not too long ago. You're just going to want to select that. Go down here where you'll be prompted to select search providers, select OK. This just lets you know that it's going to open up another tab here. This is where you're going to want to key in your zip code, or of course, you can enter city and state. It is more convenient just to key in your zip code. You're going to find the exact same information regardless. Once you were to type that in, of course, you will actually see a list of the different providers in your area that actually participate in Lifeline as well as ACP. So again, this is something that I most definitely encourage everyone look into. If you have internet that you're paying for, whether it's expensive, inexpensive, whatever the case may be. However, if you are eligible to qualify for this program, I do, really, I recommend getting this program to at least have that bill reduced. Is like, why not? The options here, it's available, it's free, it's nothing, required for you to do except for simply apply for the program, get qualified, reach out to the service provider, give them that application ID number that's going to start with the letter B. And then, of course, they handle the rest as far as making sure that your discount is being applied towards your monthly services. It's really easy, guys. It's really an easy step-by-step process. At this time, I'm going to show you the page that you will actually be redirected to when you're going about completing the application. It is nv.fcc.gov. And it does say Lifeline National Verifier. Don't let this discourage you. This is most definitely the official site. Again, both programs are actually offered by USAC, so that they actually just use the same network, the same database. So you're most definitely on the correct page. You will just come down here, select your state or your territory, select get started. This is where you're going to be prompted to just key in some simple information, basic information, such as your name, date of birth, identity verification. I do recommend the social security number. It's just that even though it's a 50-50 chance with the national verifier, that once you key in um, your social security number, or the last four rather, that you won't have to upload those supported documentation showing that you partake in this, federal assistance program. However, if it's only 50-50, let's, be optimistic and hope for the best that you won't actually have to try to find those documents or call around to these different companies, offices, just to see if they can actually provide you with support and documentation. And because there are four requirements for the acceptable forms of documentations that's not actually listed on the site, which is, of course, the document has to, of course, have your first and last name the same way it shows on your application here. It also has to have the name of the program. So, for instance, if you were qualifying through SNAP, your paperwork would have to say SNAP. Then, in turn, you would have to have either human resources or the name of the government agency that actually issues out those SNAP benefits. And then one of the most important things, you do want to assure that the documentation that you are uploading actually has a timestamp within the last 12 months. It can't be, for instance, a recertifications letter, for 2 years ago. Even though you may still currently be receiving the same benefit, that does not matter. It has to be a timestamp within the last 12 months, or something showing at least a future expiration date. Another example, if you were to be participating through Medicaid, technically your Medicaid card would be sufficient, as that would have your first and last name. The fact that it's for Medicaid, of course, your provider would be listed on there, technically that government agency that issues out the Medicaid. However, that effective date is not within the last 12 months or shows a future expiration date. It will not be a sufficient form of documentation. And I don't want you to feel like you're wasting your time and that you're, getting discouraged. So I'm just letting you know all this information ahead of time, being that a lot of these important details are not actually listed on the site. Don't ask me how I know all this stuff, okay? I can't really disclose that here online. Just know that I know and I'm giving you the real, okay? So again, I do recommend, selecting this option, and you will just be prompted to key in the last four digits of your social security number. Of course, down here, you're going to want to put in your address. Here, it is important to pay attention. Of course, if you're qualifying through yourself. If you are the one that qualifies based off income or by partaking in a federal assistance program, you will leave this as the default. However, if it is through a child or dependent, you most definitely want to assure you're selecting yes. Then, of course, you will select next. Once it opens up the next page, that is, you will actually be prompted to select what application you're interested in. Again, ACP is for the up to $30 discount towards your internet services, so you do want to ensure that you're selecting ACP. I would show you, but of course that would actually entail me keying in all my personal information, which I would have to blur out, block out, and things of that nature, which I'm not going to say is an inconvenience to me. However, it's like I'll just be keying in all this information just to blur it out, just to show you what the next page looks like. So I'm just letting you know what's expected on the next page. You'll just be prompted to select what application you're actually interested in. If you like, you can most definitely select Lifeline, because again, if you get qualified for Lifeline, you automatically qualify for ACP as well, especially if it is, through one of the federal assistance programs, that is, because the poverty guidelines is different for Lifeline technically and compared to ACP, but if it is through one of the federal assistance programs and compared to actually qualifying through income, you would automatically qualify for both programs. So that's solely up to you which application you actually select. But again, if you are just solely interested in the information that I provided on today as far as the ACP benefit is concerned, you're going to want to select the ACP application, which again, ACP stands for Affordable Connectivity Program. Once you select that, you'll just be prompted to create an account through the Lifeline National Verifier. If you already have an account, you can use your credentials that you created previously so that you can go about doing the application process. You'll just be prompted to, of course, just key in information similar as to what's showing here, as well as just letting the ACP back office, if you will, know how you actually are eligible for the program, such as that's through income or for, participating in a federal assistance program, uploading those documents. In turn, you'll be notified then and there on this screen, as well as email correspondence letting you know that you've been qualified for the program. And then also, if more documentation is required, you will also receive correspondence on that as well. It's really self-explanatory. It's really an easy step-by-step process. If you are not tech savvy or you feel like it may be inconvenience for you to go about completing this application process online, again, remember there is that paper application option, as well as the option to reach out to a service provider just to see if they can assist. Sometimes they will assist with this over the phone. I'm going to let you know straight up, if you call the Affordable Connectivity Support Center, they will not do an application over the phone. They will only actually assist with an application over the phone due to special circumstances, such as if you actually cannot read or write for whatever reason that may be to go about completing the online or paper application. And even with that, the ticket is actually escalated to a supervisor, in which they will get in touch with you within 24 to 48 hours. So whenever you're calling to speak with a representative, that representative will not be able to do the application over the phone due to protocol. They're not able to do so. Even if you meet the criteria of not being able to read or write, to do your application online or do the paper application, they will still have to actually escalate the contact form to their supervisor, and then in turn you have to wait on the supervisor to get in touch with you in order to complete this application process over the phone. But again, the three main ways is to apply online, the paper application, as well as reaching out to the service provider. Again, if you're looking into seeing if maybe someone can assist with this over the phone, or if you would just rather go directly through your service provider, you can do that. Again, you can visit the Companies Near Me tool here, where you would just key in your zip code to see who's actually partaking in the ACP program, and then in turn you can know exactly, if your provider partakes in the program and they just never told you because they like you paying that high expensive bill. Or of course, if you don't have a provider, or if you're looking into switching providers, you can look into seeing who's actually participating in these programs in your area, such as the Lifeline program, as well as the ACP program. Again, this video was more so focused on ACP, being that again it is a up to $30 discount towards those services. But again, it's really self-explanatory, guys. It's a quick, easy way if you actually qualify for the program that it is. To have your bill reduced.